So my goddaughter gave me a call and she said, hey auntie, she said, I know it's late. And she was like, but I would just give me a call. She said, because I got a question. And granted, it was like 12 o'clock at night. And I was like, okay, what's up, honey? And she was like, the guy that you talked to, she was like, what does he look like? And I was like, he's about 6'2", medium build. I was like, my complexion, whatever. I was like, but why? Why do you ask, like, what does he look like? She was like, because auntie, she said, I'm in this bar. She was like, and I see this guy in here. She was like, and it kind of looks just like him or whatever. Ooh. And I was like, I said, well, I don't know how that could be. I said, because
is he with a girl?
On Wednesday evening. And I said, he was in Atlanta. And I said, as far as I know, he didn't say anything about he was coming back home this weekend, whatever. And she was like, I don't know, auntie. She was like, it really looks like him. She was like, so what I'm gonna do? She was like, I'm gonna send you a picture of him. She was like, and you tell me. I said, better yet, I said, I'm gonna send you a picture of him. I said, you tell me if that's him. So I sent her a picture of him or what. She was like, before I seen the picture, she was like, it's some girl in here sitting to the bar with him. She was like, and the girl keep calling him babe. She was like, auntie, that's kind of what threw me off a little bit. She was like, because I was like, okay, he talked to my aunt, like, who is this lady in here? Who is this old woman in here calling him babe or whatever? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I said, like, what the hell is that?
I ain't gonna lie, like yo, that's like your worst fear, right? You trying to goddamn hang out with your goddamn side bitch, and goddamn you gotta worry about somebody noticing you.
I said, okay, send me that picture of him. I said, I need to see, but he looked like, I need to know what's going on or whatever, because I need to know if he's back home, because if he's home, he didn't even communicate to me and tell me that he was home, but yet you want to be 20-25 minutes from my house or whatever, because that's how long it take me to get to the bar or whatever. So I told her, guys, send me this picture. So she sent me the picture. I looked at it, I'm like, baby girl, I can't tell, because all you can see was like the back of his head or whatever. So I was like, send me another picture. So she did. She sent me another picture. So I looked at the picture, it was kind of like the side of him, but his head was in. I said, I can't see that either. I said, send me one more. She said, Betty, she said, auntie, she was like, I got something better I'm gonna do. She said, tell you what I'm gonna do. She said, I'm gonna FaceTime you. She was like, and I'm gonna scan the room. And she said, once I scan the room, she said, I'm gonna put the phone on him. She said, once I stop my phone, she said, you just let me know if that's him or not. So she did that. So she FaceTimed me. I scanned the room. Look, she stopped the phone. I look and I was like, yep. I said, that definitely looks like
that's
him.
I
said, she said, but auntie, who is the girl? I said, I don't know. So do me a favor. I said, scan the room again. And I said, let me see what's going on. I said, because I need to see who this bitch is too. I said, but the fact of the matter, I said, I'm just still pissed because he's home and didn't even communicate to me home that he was home. I said, so now we being sneaky. So this is the type of shit that we doing. So I was like, okay. So she said, okay, auntie, I'm about to do it again. She said, I'm about to FaceTime you, so answer your phone. And the whole time while she FaceTiming me, I'm already getting up, put my clothes on. I'm getting dressed real quick. Okay, so the bar's about 25 minutes from my house, but I can get there in 15 minutes. Okay.
So
that's exactly what I did. I started getting my clothes on. So she ended up FaceTiming me, scanning the room.
Y'all heard what she said, right? Y'all caught that, right? She said the bar 25 minutes away, but she can get there in 15. Oh shit.
Against all the girl, and I was like, I said, yeah, I think I know that girl too or whatever. Me and her had beef about 15 years or so ago. I said, so you mean to tell me? I said, this is the girl that's in the bar with him and she's in there calling him baby? And she was like, auntie, yes, or whatever. Now at this point, if you know, like I know, my blood is boiling, because at the end of the day, this motherfucker is home, didn't even communicate and tell me that he was even coming back to Delaware, but you're home, you're here, I had no clue or whatever. And then you are home 20-25 minutes away from where I stay at a bar with some bitch that I know from back in the day or whatever. And definitely, I'm gonna tell you on the real, the girl, she's my ops. So basically, you in a bar with my ops. So now we really need to see what's going on. So yes, I went up there. So when I got there, I noticed that the door was closed. Okay, it was locked. So the bouncer was standing at the door. So I tapped on the window and I was like, put a little bit charm on. Hi, how are you? And he was like, we're closed or whatever. And I was like, you're closed? He was like, yeah, because we're about to close up in 15 minutes. So we're not letting anybody back in the bar. And I was like, God. I said, well, my goddaughter is in here. I was like, do you think I can get in there to, come and talk to her? So he opened the door. He was like, who's your goddaughter? I was like, now all these people here, I can tell you who she is, but you're not going to be able to find her. He was like, okay. He said, you're going to get me in trouble, but come on, I'm just let you in here. So
okay.
Good, because this is what I needed. I needed to get in here because
Security,
I needed to
ruined
see
it, bro.
what the hell was going on. I was definitely on a mission or whatever. So when I walked in there, I couldn't find her and I didn't see him. And I was like, I don't see anybody in here. I've seen a lot of people in there, but I did not see them. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go look in the back or whatever. So I ended up running to my goddaughter and she was like, auntie, what are you doing here? And I was like, you already know why I'm here. She was like, so she's like, auntie, I don't even know where they're at because it's been about 10 or 15 minutes. And she was like, and I haven't seen neither one of them. And I said, it's been 10-15 minutes you haven't seen. I said, did they leave? And she was like, I don't think so. She said, well, let's go outside. She said, because he parked right in the front. She was like, if his car is still in the front, she was like, that means he's still here or whatever. I said, well, I just came from outside. And when I walked in the building, I said, a bunch of people standing outside. I said, but he's not one of them. We walk outside. The bouncer lets us outside. He said, y'all coming back in? I said, I don't know. We might be. So we walk outside and I seen his car. I did not see him outside anywhere though, but I saw his car. I automatically knew like, okay, so he's still here. So with that being said, I was like, I'm just going to go back in the bar and I'm just going to order me a drink or whatever, because it is what it is at the end of the day. So my godbaby was like, I'm just going to wait because he has to come back in here, or he's somewhere in here because he wasn't outside in the car. So she was like, okay, auntie, so we go to the bar. I had a bartender fix me a drink. So while I'm sitting at the bar, like, you can see the door. You can see the door from the bar, okay? So I'm just sitting there and I'm looking. I'm like, okay, that guy looks familiar. Okay, so yes, I know him. That's the guy that he ended up coming up here with or whatever. So because I know him, I know his friend or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I told my goddaughter, I was like, just get my drink for me. And I was like, I'm going to be right back. So I walked to the door and the bouncer was like, you going back out again? And I said, yeah. I said, if you don't mind. I was like, I'm so sorry. I said, I know I'm probably getting on your nerves. I was like, but if you don't mind opening the door for me, I was like, I'm probably going to come back in just in a, quick, fast, and a hurry. So as he's opening the door, I see the car lights, his car lights cut on. You know, like when you start your car or whatever, you see that, like I see the back of his lights cut on. And I was like, oh, I said, so he must have been in the car when I came out here the first time. And I guess I just didn't see him or whatever. Maybe I just wasn't looking at good. I don't know. So anyway, I saw the back lights and I was like, okay. So the bouncer opened the door. I walked out the door, walked right past his friend. Hey, what's up? Kept right on walking. I walked to the car. I'm walking towards the car and I could see him. Like, I could just see him, like, just sitting in the car. Just sitting in the car. But you know how when somebody like is inebriated or like, they just had way too many drinks, so it's like it's almost like he was just sitting in the car trying to get himself together, whatever, because like he get his head back and like his head back. I don't know. So I was a little bit concerned because I didn't know what I was going to see when I walked up to that window. I knocked on the window, and once I knocked on the window, he turns around and he looks at me.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all see that Hermes bracelet? That shit hard. I like that shit. I might have to get me one of those.
He was definitely surprised to see me. So he rolls down the window. He looks at me. He was like, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I should be asking you the same thing too, because what are you doing here? Because last time I talked to you was a couple days ago, maybe a day or two ago,
Like,
and you didn't
that
tell me
shit
anything
right
about you
there.
were going to be coming back to Delaware. So I heard some feet like pattering behind me because it was like gravel, like rocks or whatever, like in a parking lot. So I could hear. So I had to turn around, kind of fast, because I didn't know if somebody was trying to run up, because one thing about me, these hands is quick.
Let's
I look
go.
at her and I see her walking up, and she's like, Big Bird. I know that's not who I think it is.
Big Bird.
And I was like, it most definitely is. It most definitely is. So redirect that attention to this man, because this is not what we want to do. She reaches in the car before he can even get out the car. She started hitting on him and started punching him, and she was howling like, you're talking to her. And how are we going to find out what's going on with him if you out here throwing tantrums and you hollering and you kicking and you just doing?
You gotta get the shit together before you beat his ass. Let him get all the shit out. That's gonna depend on how bad you gotta beat his ass. The other girl need to do her homework. She's smart. She like, all right, let me see what all this nigga done did. So when I swing on him, I gotta know how much force I gotta use. Holy.
The most. Sit your little drunk self down. Let's find out what's going on. And he trying to block the hits, and he's like, get off of me and go to your car. And like he just kept trying to push her away. I was just like, you know what? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna exit left, because like this is crazy right here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and let you do what you need to do. And I was like, just lose my number. I just started walking to my car. By the time I was walking to my car, I heard her hollering at him like, where are you going? And by the time I looked, he was already in his car and he took off. He drove off or whatever. Now, meanwhile, I'm still walking to my car because I parked at the other parking lot. So I'm walking to my car, and I get in my car and I just see her in the middle of the street. So I guess she ended up walking back in the bar because he left. So once I get home, I pulled the second time he called me, I pulled in my yard, and so I just was like, well, what are you calling me for? Like, what's up? And he was like, well, you act like you caught me doing something. And I was like, why the fuck you lying? I absolutely did. I absolutely did. So are these the type of mind games we're about to try to play? Because this is not what we're doing right now. You know that you were coming back to Delaware. You didn't communicate it to me. You felt the need that you needed to communicate to her. And he was like, I was there with my family. He was like, as you can see, you saw my family there. I was there with my family. I wasn't there with her. She just happened to be there. He was like, your goddaughter is messy at the end of the day. Don't put my goddaughter in this.
Wait. Why? Well, he probably seen the goddaughter there, because I was about to say, nah, don't snitch on the goddaughter. He shouldn't even know about the goddaughter. You know what I'm saying? But he probably seen her there or some shit. Maybe, I don't know.
Just take accountability. That's all we got to do. Like, we're going to take accountability and we're going to move on, and I'm just going to let you be. And we're going to rock out with this because you chose your side, and I'm just going to let you be. Because I definitely chucked him them deuces, and I'm going to let him be. Because one thing about it, I'm going to let a ninja be a ninja. I was hella disappointed about it, because sometimes you try to put people like on a pedestal a little bit, and then they turn around and then they just do something and just brings you down a little bit. So, yeah, that's what happened.
How many of black men don't cheat. Was he black? Black men don't goddamn gonna cheat. He must have been motherfucking Mexican or some shit. Hispanic. But nah. Yep. Hey, have you ever had a little side piece type shit, man? This ain't never happened to me, by the way. I'm just saying, y'all know black men don't cheat, no cap. But ever had you like a little side piece, my nigga? You going somewhere? Girls too, y'all slick as hell. No, y'all ain't excluded from this conversation. Y'all let the new nigga take y'all out somewhere. You gotta be worried about like, damn, I know my nigga brother be here sometimes. You don't want to go there. You be like, let's go to the one across on the other side of town. You know what I'm saying? I know what the fuck y'all be doing, nigga. So this shit go for everybody. God damn it. We just ain't gonna get on the niggas just because it's story time is about a nigga. You feel me? But hey, you know, y'all know how the game go, man. Don't act like y'all don't know how this shit go, man. You know what I'm saying? There ain't really too much I need to say. If that fan is loud, I'm sorry. You feel me? I'm kind of hot in this bitch. And I ain't no AC, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's cool. I'm just rocking out. Up, y'all might be like, nigga, take the jacket off. I feel you. Actually, yeah, let me take this motherfucker off. What y'all think though? Comment in the comments below what you think. Shit, man. Get caught. You just gotta be careful, y'all. When you're starting to sneak around with your sneaky link, go to a place that ain't, you know what I'm saying? She got there in 25, 15 minutes. If she can get there in 15 minutes, nigga, you don't need to be going over there. Nigga, if I was him, what? Nigga, I would be nowhere where my bitch work, where my bitch live. Nigga, what? Nigga, I'd be so far, I don't even know if my bitch car can make it out there. Fuck is y'all talking about? I'd be so far sneaking off. I don't even know my bitch car can get there, nigga. You feel me? No cap. Appreciate y'all though for tuning in and rocking with me. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Peace.